hour, one of a multitude of different weapons that Dunn does possess. And straight away, the fastball comes in at 92 miles an hour. Strike one as we get underway here this afternoon.
What a difference a week makes, because Ross Dunn struggled last Sunday, was not able to locate his fastball. One pitch, one strike.
And a pop-up now by T.J. Williams. Alex Terrell in foul territory, secures it, one down. And so let's take a look at that Florida State defense. We've now introduced you to Alex Terrell. He's joined on the corners of the infield by Logan Lacey. Up the middle, it's Jordan Carrion, who you see pictured on your screen, with Brett Roberts, who started the year at third. Trayton Rank makes his second start of the season in the outfield, joined by Reese Albert and Jaime Ferrer. Colton Vincent once again the catcher, and we've introduced you to Ross Dunn, the pitcher. Tyler Martin, once we get to the Seminole bats, will once again be the DH this weekend.
The key to pitching is getting ahead and staying ahead. And so far Dunn 0-1 both batters he's faced today.
0-2 to Miller, the second baseman from right outside of Atlanta in Marietta, Georgia. Batting average now at .266. And from 9 RBI to 11, a big 2 RBI last night in the ninth. Dunn, a guy who struggled a little bit out of the gates this season, but then at Wake Forest, a weekend series where the Noles dropped the first game, won the second one, he came out and gave Florida State 7 innings of absolute electric stuff, led to him being named D1 Baseball's National Player of the Week.
Yeah, that's always a huge accomplishment, and right now we're going to take a look at Ross Dunn. Just a nasty pitch on the lower and outer part of the zone. Jared Miller just can't quite catch it, and nonetheless, Dunn gets a strikeout.
That'll bring up the third baseman, Jack Brannigan.
We've talked about it all weekend, Chip, the ability of these pitchers to establish the inside part of the plate and try and get these hitters kind of guessing on, are they going to come hard and in, are they going to go soft and away, and pick a side.
And Dunn is an imposing figure on the mound. Not a whole lot of movement, very short, but wind up, going through it, but again, a big guy on the mound for the Noles. 6'3", about 220.
Squaring off with a guy in Brannigan who earned a walk in the 8th inning yesterday. It was the first time he reached base all weekend. He now stands perhaps as few as one pitch away from doing so again.
And with the 2-0 changeup, missed up with it.
And walks on 4 pitches.
Those things that drive pitching coaches crazy. Get a quick out. First batter came back with a strikeout, and then 4 pitch base on balls.
And that's where Dunn's still just a little bit young. He's only a sophomore on the day and just really trying to hone in on the ability to attack hitters. You know, you might get behind in counts, but really try to work your way back, attack the zone. Don't leave anything over the heart of the plate, and again, see what they can do. I'm going to give him my best stuff.
Well, Carter Putz has certainly shown us his best stuff at the plate this weekend, has been an offense machine. Multiple hits in both games, including the home run in the 4th yesterday. Batting average now at .360, 17 RBI on the season. And the count now 1-1 on the fastball inside.
Ross Dunn's going to have a steady diet of right-handed batters through the order. Notre Dame was 7 pure right-handed batters, a couple switch hitters with Miller and Jari.
And that's exactly how Link Jarrett is going to set his lineup. He's going to go and set the lineup based on the hitter and, again, the opposing pitcher to try to get the best matchups. You know, they talk so much about analytics and the way in which they study them.
Analytics becoming more and more a part of the game. Chip, we've had multiple conversations about how the baseball that you coached back then, the information that you had access to, stuff that you had to diagram that's now diagrammed for you, it's a totally different world now.
You had to eyeball it. Look at it yourself. Again, going back to coaching days, you used to get charts from people. but you always trust what you saw in batting practice. You trust what you saw off videotape, realizing what you have on the mound. If you're going to play a shift, you better pitch to the shift, and we said that all weekend.
And going further on the analytics, the one thing analytics don't take into consideration is the human factor. We're not gonna be perfect and on it every single time, so that's definitely still important to take into consideration.
This one short hops its way into putts. That'll be ball 4. So consecutive walks.
Lost his footing. That ball was not a 55-foot. That was about a 50-foot ball that bounced way out in the grass.
Ended up hitting putts. Yeah, that's exactly why Brannigan couldn't advance at second base. You saw in the 4 straight balls, too, to Brannigan, Ross Dunn did kind of look like he had been losing his footing there at the front part of the mound.
And that's the second straight Seminole starter who had trouble really establishing footing. Bryce Hubbard had some issues yesterday as well.
Yeah, and yesterday's field condition could have been a little bit a part of that too. Just wet dirt on the mound, and I think Hubbard's cleats kept getting full of mud.
Foul tip makes it 0-1 as Ryan Cole steps in. Putz and Cole have been the 2 main engines for this Notre Dame offense this weekend. Cole was the hero on night 1, top of the 12th, in what was then a scoreless ball game. Doing a little something like that. This is a towering shot to left. It is off the scoreboard. Ryan Cole gets the party started today.
Cole doing what he did Friday night's game, came up here, ball up the middle part of the plate, did not have much on it at all. And that ball was, they say, tattooed off the scoreboard. And rerun homer.
And that's exactly why, too, we put so much emphasis as a defense on those free passes. You know, you can't give up bases to your 3-hole hitter in Jack Brannigan, and again, your cleanup spot in Carter Putz. Those are free passes, base on balls, hit by pitch, which ultimately results in a 3-run home run instead of just a 1-run ball game.
2 quick outs, 4 pitch base on balls, 3-2 base on balls. Ball just jumped off his bat. A little bit drier air here today, wind blowing in from left center. Beautiful day at the ballpark, but not a beautiful start for Florida State.
Here's the designated hitter, Nick Jouer. Came in yesterday as a pinch hitter, first time we've seen Jouer this weekend. And he would earn a walk in the 9th inning, would then come in to score after the big-time hit by his second baseman, Jared Miller. He flies out to right to end the top of the first, but the big storyline, Ryan Cole going yard again. Bottom of the first, and Florida State already has some work to do at the plate. They'll lead it off with Tyler Martin. Jaime Ferrer has been one of the more consistent bats all season, also capable of plenty of fireworks. He bats second, followed up by Logan Lacey, Alex Terrell, Brett Roberts, Reese Albert, Colton Vincent, Trayton Rank back and left, and then Jordan Carrion rounding things out at the bottom of the order for the Seminoles. They will all face perhaps Austin Temple. He'll at least get the start here today. He's a senior from Palm City, Florida, a transfer from the Jacksonville program just a couple of hours down the road, was a Dolphin up until this season, now making his 4th start of the season with the Fighting Irish. Has a 2-0 record, ERA at 2.42 through 26 combined innings of work, 34 strikeouts, 9 walks, a 3-pitch mix with an over-the-top breaking ball. He was the ACC Pitcher of the Week back on March 7th, following a game against Minnesota up in Minneapolis, where he went deep into the 7th inning and was working a no-hitter at the time. One and one the count to Tyler Martin.
Temple will not beat himself. Again, opponent's batting average against him, 157.
And quickly locating the fastball there for strike 2. Tried to hit with that breaking ball.
What we're seeing so far on both sides of the field is these pitchers wanting to establish that fastball early and then work from there on those off-speed pitches.
Tyler Martin doing what Tyler Martin does, is taking a lot of pitches. A great eye at the plate, inserted in the lineup this weekend for the first time all year as a starter.
A leadoff walk for Tyler Martin.
He's so calm in the box, Chip. Just his ability to recognize pitches immediately out of the hand of the opposing pitchers that he's seen all weekend long is so impressive. You see right there, he just doesn't lose his cool. He takes the ball so well, very aggressive, like he's intending to swing. I really like watching him hit in the box.
And when he's coming off a shoulder injury, and he came through last night big late in the ball game. And it started Friday night's game, came in yesterday early in the game as a pinch hitter, stayed in the game, and again leading off this game here after Seminoles gave up 3 in the first is a big for the Noles.
Fastball up and in to Jaime Ferrer. Ferrer yesterday reached base 4 times, twice off a hit by pitch, walked once, also singled in the 3rd. They're the numbers for the freshman.
Jaime Ferrer's been swinging the bat pretty good, really good for Florida State. He likes the ball out over the plate. He's hitting breaking pitches out away. A lot of teams are pitching him in. 10 hit by pitches, as you mentioned, twice yesterday.
Well, and that's what's so important about going into the box, having a plan, knowing that he's likely going to get a pitch or 2 pitches on the inner part of the plate, likely something hard. But if he can kind of hold out and fight those pitches off to get the pitch that he's ultimately sitting for, that's where he's going to find his most success.
He's been successful in pitches in. He's so strong at the plate. He can take the inside pitch and drive it the other way. He can pull it. Again, he has power to all parts of the ballpark. Not bad for a freshman catcher playing right field.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had early on too in my career is, in talking with Coach Alameda for the FSU softball team, she always would tell me, Alex, if you can hit a ball that's on the inner part of the plate and you can hit it to the opposite side of the field, I'm going to have a really hard time as an opposing pitcher or as an opposing coach getting you out, because then I can be certain also that you can take a ball on the outer part of the plate and drive it to the opposite side of the field.
Strike 1 after the trip out to the mound by the Notre Dame pitching coach Chuck Ristano.
Temple has not been comfortable again. 3-2 count to Tyler Martin. A walk, now 3-1 here to Ferrer. Good fastball.
Might as well take another look at that.
Sometimes you just have to challenge him there. Fastball, a little late run on it, 3-2 count. Will Martin start at first?
Indeed he does. That's ball 4. Consecutive walks to start. And just like that, Florida State brings the tying run to the plate.
Mirrored the last 4 batters. Again, Notre Dame, a couple quick outs, and two base on balls, and then a home run. Maybe Florida State can counter right here, Alex.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Logan Lacey to kind of step up and take charge here, maybe change the complexity of the ball game. But to your point, this is a different Florida State offense, even in the first 2 batters than we've seen all weekend. Very patient in the box and really demanding the opposing pitcher to come to them and give them something over the heart of the plate.
Starts off Logan Lacey off speed. There have been very few strikes thrown here from Austin Temple. There's another one upstairs. Temple, a guy who's not unfamiliar with Florida State. I mentioned that he was a pitcher for the Jacksonville Dolphins up until this season. Got a start against the Seminoles in 11s last year, back in 2019. Ended up going 5 2/3 in that one. Got the win as well. Jacksonville would go on to win that game 3-2.
Senior catcher David LaManna going out to the mound, and he's doing what Link Jarrett saw as a player and as well as he coached here. He's stopping the ball game, slowing it down, has a guy in the bullpen getting loose. The catcher walks slowly out there. The catcher walks slowly back. Doug Bynes, a home plate umpire, trying to speed it up. You may see maybe an inside move here just to speed up the game or slow down the game to give the guy in the bullpen more chance to get warmed up.
And that guy that's getting warm is Aiden Tyrell, who started the season as the Friday night guy.
Well, inside move, I've seen this, I've read this book before. Link Jarrett learned it from the master, Mike Martin. I don't think he'll throw another pitch. I was wrong.
Up and out of play, it goes 2-1.
We're all wrong sometimes,
Well,
Chip.
I guess sometimes.
I can't relate, but you know.
Page stuck together in that book.
But I also think there's something to be said about slowing the game down just for the pitcher themselves. Like, hey, get back in the moment. Let's compete.
3-1. Two Seminoles have already walked to start off their offensive efforts. This count will run full off the foul ball. It'll become a souvenir. Oh, no, it won't be a souvenir. It caroms back into play. Sad faces for the folks in right.
It's good to see Logan Lacey looking to go the other way. The ball was foul. A lot of carry, as you mentioned, foul ball, but staying back, looking to drive the ball. Third straight batter, 3-2 count.
You know, Chip, you talked about driving the ball the other way, Logan Lacey with that last foul ball, and that's something that Sean and I talked about in pregame BP as Florida State. You know, if I'm a hitter right now, I am working everything to the opposite side of the field.
Got him. Came in there with that breaking ball.
Come on, Trout, pick him up. Pick him up.
What a great time. He's been struggling with the fastball. Alex just dropped that one off the table.
Yeah, that ball just absolutely falls off the table, Chip. It just freezes Logan Lacey. I think you're right. It kind of surprised him a little bit. Maybe he was looking fastball, but again, anytime you're in a 2-strike count, you got to look hard, adjust soft.
That'll bring up Alex Terrell.
And if I'm a Florida State hitter right now, I'm also having in mind that Austin Temple's not throwing a lot of strikes as fastballs. And so I might be sitting something a little bit more off speed and something that I can drive up in the zone.
There's the numbers for Alex Terrell. Big time power threat. This one down and in.
Back-to-back breaking pitches after the strikeout. Missed up, missed in. Terrell sitting dead red here, 2-0, looking for a fastball.
2-0, one of the best counts to hit in.
Make it 3-0. Fastball up and away.
Think he's got the green light, Chip, or you think he's taking?
May get it, and you have the guy at the plate. You want to swing the bat. Look for a pitch that you can do some damage with.
I agree.
They're struggling a little bit. Chasing some balls down, get something up in the zone, let it ride.
Wind is blowing out to right. Or you can get something above the zone and walk on 4 pitches. Bases are juiced for the Seminoles, all via the walk. Every single Nole to come to the plate has seen a 3-ball count. Temple was able to freeze up Logan Lacey on a breaking ball for strike 3. Everybody else has walked.
Huge discussion going on at the Notre Dame dugout. Link Jarrett there with his pitching coach, the veteran Chuck Vistano. You want to try to get a ground ball, get out of the inning. You know you have a guy on the mound who can get you 4 or 5 innings. He's proved that all year, just struggling right now.
There's another one, opposite field, but foul. Roberts, a sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, transferred in from Tennessee Tech. Lamanna tried to frame up the pitch down below the zone, does not get the call.
Senior catcher behind the plate trying to work his guy on the mound. That ball, as you just mentioned, down and away.
Roberts batting .268, looking to add to that RBI total. Off the end of the bat, saw it off into shallow center. Williams charges in, there's a collision and the ball gets away. Throw comes into second and the Seminoles strike back. Tyler Martin scores, it's 3-1. Al and Roberts at third, second, and first, and a first pitch strike to Reese Albert. Good numbers for the senior. And a ground ball here. Notre Dame will stick with the force, and Florida State will score a second run. A little indecision as to whether or not they would have to settle for a fielder's choice or try to turn that 4-6-3. Then they threw a dart into third after Alex Terrell got a big turnaround the hot corner.
Was not a double play ball, but you got an experienced guy at second base there with Miller. Just getting the lead out. Always keep your force in order, even with 2 outs. Not a double play ball, but got the out at second.
And that ball will get away. Terrell motors home. Hamstring looks just fine. We are tied at 3.
Just got through the wickets. First thing you want to catch you do to get that glove down, did not get over it. You arrived late to the ballpark. You missed a lot of action here. 6 runs on the board, 3 on each half of the inning.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Another one gets away. Albert now 90 feet away. If you're scoring at home, rule it a pass ball that allowed Terrell to come in to score. And this one will be a wild pitch to advance Reese Albert. Here's Colton Vincent now, 2-1. There's the numbers for Vincent. And here's a ground ball up the middle. Glove by Miller. Sidearm throw to first to reach. Anna, a senior from Saddle River, New Jersey, batting .333 on the year. At this point this season, best numbers offensively for him in any season. He's always been solid and has been very timely. Has really had the knack for the big moment and has delivered either behind the plate or at it throughout the course of his Fighting Irish career, according to his coach, Link Jarrett. Gave that ball a ride, but it is foul. Check swing, but he came forward. Ball down in the dirt. Vincent fires it down to first. Second strikeout for Ross Dunn.
And that's been the MO for these pitchers overall, trying to get something down in the zone, a little bit off. Here, obviously, we saw that ball took a nice little bounce, and Ross Dunn does such a good job just making it look deceiving to the opposing hitters. And Terrell recovers over at first base, too.
And that now brings up Zach Preisner. Senior from Carlsbad, California. There are the numbers for Zach. Had a chance to hear from his mom yesterday, who made the trip here to Tallahassee. Her son now 0-2 against Dunn to start here in the top of the second.
Dunn trying to go backdoor breaking ball. Thought he might have had it as he's walked off toward the Seminole dugout. Great location on the 0-2 pitch. Yeah, with that good fastball there at 95 miles an hour, a little bit up in the zone. Pulled it foul. Showed him a breaking pitch. Ball one, fastball up, foul ball. Time for the changeup.
In there for strike three. Ross Dunn goes 1-2-3 through the top of the second. Back to business as usual for the Seminole southpaw. Back here in Tallahassee as we get to the bottom of the second. Aiden Tyrell will get back to the bump here. Did not get the start. It was Austin Temple who did. He has already come in relief as the junior Knoll announcer gets to announce the Florida State batters here in the bottom of the second. And so that young fan is introducing Trayton Rank, so we might as well do so as well. Rank, a freshman from Buford, Georgia, majoring in criminology, has made starts at multiple infield positions and has now made multiple starts this weekend in left field. Had one plate appearance yesterday, earned a walk, and then came in to score off an opposite field line drive base knock by Jordan Carrion. That was coincidentally enough in the second inning. Speaking of line drives to the opposite field, that was exactly what you saw there from Rank, although it caught the netting in foul territory.
You mentioned Rank, multiple starts in the infield, was opening day starting shortstop for Florida State. Big time play he made in left field yesterday, early in the game.
Works the count full here. And stays alive. Another Seminole to walk. That is the fourth base on balls through the first inning and batter of the second.
Jordan Carrion batting bottom of the order here. Batting ninth, handles the bat pretty good. You may see Florida State here early in the ball game play a little small ball to advance the runner.
Well, and I wouldn't blame them, Chip, with a 155 batting average on the weekend. They haven't shown much power, no home runs so far this series, and only a double. So they've been singling them to death.
There we go. Fastball away, just missed. Hitters count here. 1-0. Missed away, came back inside with a swinging strike.
And not even taking into consideration the results with the 4 walks so far from these Notre Dame pitchers, but also just looking ahead for the rest of the game. We still have 8 innings of play, hopefully, knock on wood, but trying to tap into that bullpen as well.
Ground ball here. Preisner goes to second for 1. Into first. Carrion beats the throw with plenty of speed down the line. Pretty good turn by Miller at second. Made it a relatively tight play at the plate. But the Fighting Irish will have to settle for the force.
Fastball right there, doing a good job. Really wasn't a double play ball.
No, that ball was more towards the 5-6 hole, a little bit further, but Miller did a really good job avoiding the slide by Rank at second base.
Rank going in there hard. You got to stay down. You cannot pop up. Ball gets away from the man here, and again, Carrion advanced to second. But what quick hands Jared Miller has at second base. Very smooth turn, knowing the guy's coming at you pretty quick.
That whole play was smooth, but that's something that Link Jarrett says that he takes so much pride in is their defense. And, he works so hard on their defensive work. They were taking so many ground ball reps prior to the game during their BP.
And Miller's a guy who actually was playing at shortstop, but Link wanted him at second because he saw exactly that possibility with the way he can turn as Tyler Martin flies out to left.
And that's something to be said, Sean, about that, because so often, people assume that oftentimes shortstop is the best defender on the infield, but that's not necessarily the case. Second base is such an intricate position, and the way in which you have to take care of the ball in all the small ways that are often less flashy is so crucial to the success of your infield overall.
Jaime Ferrer, first pitch swinging here, and yeah, it can be a real tricky place to play. You got some big circles, and you got to direct traffic. You got to kind of point guard that infield a little bit.
Definitely. Oftentimes, they're one of the most vocal people on the field because they're working alongside the first baseman. They're right in the pitcher's hip pocket. The shortstop, obviously huge, right? So there's so much communication from that position at second base.
Up and away to Ferrer, making it 1-1.
Just curious how much they will attack the strike zone right here with the open bag at first base. Lacey on deck's been struggling all weekend at the plate.
And that's where you play your numbers game. Take your chance, put him on, maybe force out.
Pitch him carefully. Ouch. Went on his hands there.
I was going to say, buried that one right on in there.
Maybe not. 1-2.
It's the typical, they'll work in the extreme sides. Very in, very far out, nothing over the heart of the plate because the Notre Dame team knows what he can do.
Down below the zone, he whiffs at the off speed, and that'll put an end to the bottom of the second here in Tallahassee. The second strikeout for the Fighting Irish staff. Strands a runner in scoring position, tied 3 apiece here in Tallahassee. Welcome back to Dick Hauser Stadium as we get set to start the third here in Tallahassee, Florida. Sean Davison, Chip Baker, Alex Powers, Emily Peters, and our entire crew here with you and that young fan as we take in a couple of teams that could be perhaps on the road to Omaha. Still so much baseball to be played, and Notre Dame really showing this weekend that they are all right. This is a series win that the Fighting Irish desperately needed in their resume, Alex and Chip. And we've seen this a few times here in a conference as deep and as tough as the ACC is. When you look through the top 25, there's 7 teams from the SEC, 7 more from the ACC, by far and away the 2 best represented teams at the very top of the country, or excuse me, conferences I should say. And so we've now seen a Louisville team that struggled early found their footing against Notre Dame. And so now a Notre Dame team that struggled to start conference play is seemingly finding their footing here.
Notre Dame is doing so many things well. They're playing defense spectacular. Their pitchers on the mound look pretty good. Obviously, we saw a very good outing by Bertrand on Friday night. And you know what? Although their hitting stats aren't necessarily the best, they're chipping away and they're doing things to make team runs happen. They're hitting the long ball a little bit, and that just overall changes the whole duration of the game and the complexity of the game.
It certainly goes right back to the point that Emily was making in the open too, because they might not hit as well as other teams. They might not have the same amount of raw talent as maybe some other teams out there do, but she said, as some of the folks have mentioned on the Notre Dame beat, that this is a coaching staff, and particularly a head coach in Link Jarrett, has really maximized what each of his players can do and is utilizing them well.
And that's what good coaches do. They coach their teams up. They don't always have, the top level recruits in every single class, every single year, but they're able to coach them. And if you have a tooled athlete, you can do a lot of damage.
Another strikeout for Ross Dunn as he fans T.J. Williams at the top of the order.
After back-to-back fastballs, he spiked one, but he came back and hit backdoor slider and had him out in front. He's hit location, went early in the count, 93 miles an hour, 94 miles an hour, in on the hands.
4th strikeout today for Dunn, 3rd in a row, 2 to end the 2nd, and of course the one here to Williams to start the 3rd. And here's another aspect to it. There's a lot of schools out there across the D1 landscape that, whether it's finding somebody in the transfer portal or bringing in these blue chip type recruits into their college baseball programs, it's a little bit easier for them to do it than, say, in Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, being a private institution, also has very extensive, beyond what a lot of other schools have, academic standing. So it really takes expanding the recruiting zone even further than what a lot of schools might do. And it's something Link Jarrett talked about as being one of the first eye-opening challenges he faced when he got to South Bend. Ground ball up the middle. Miller with another base knock here this weekend. Thought about turning for second, but a good throw in by Albert will hold him at first.
Got too much of the plate on the 0-2 count. Miller doing a great job of just going right back up the middle, looking away. Experienced ball player there, switch hitter on the base here with 1 out.
Notre Dame swinging early in these counts. Quickly 0-2.
Took my thought process. 3rd batter this inning, swinging first pitch.
Good crowd here on a Sunday afternoon in Tallahassee. Bit of a bummer, to say the least, yesterday. That 4-hour rain delay took a lot of the crowd back home because, who exactly is going to sit in the parking lot for about 4 hours or sit in the rain for 4 hours? A decent number of people made it as Florida State scampers out of the way of a line drive toward their dugout for what seems like the billionth time this weekend.
0-2 changeup, they well out in front of it. Watch out there, Isaiah Perry. Ducking there in the dugout. Cade Bush.
I'm more impressed that he didn't fall down the stairs.
Another strikeout. And a quick snap throw to first, nearly doubled off Notre Dame.
Strikeout there, fastball up, made him chase it.
We've seen that a lot this weekend, the high cheese. These hitters can't quite lay off of it. Ross Dunn really finding his groove, and really quick snap throw by Vincent behind the plate.
You have a catcher that can snap a ball, as you mentioned right there. It really keeps that runner at first base when trying to get the extra step.
It's all about keeping him honest.
This inning completely different than what's been the previous two. Just establishing the fastball, getting ahead.
That one got away from Vincent. Miller advances to second.
It's the little things that go in a tie ball game. A no decision pitch. You want hitters to make decisions. I thought it looked like that Vincent was trying to catch it, maybe get a throw to first on that same play. Runner advanced to second base with 2 out with Miller.
One and one the count to Carter Putz. This is where things get a little tricky in the order, to say the least, for opposing pitchers, because Putz and Cole have been the 2
run producers.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is hit well, high and deep, out to right. And yeah, that's something that you can call run production. To say the least, you can call it a lot of different things. Carter Putz with a 2 of 3 hits for the Fighting Irish to this point. And this one is hit well, out to left field, will drop there in front of Trayton Rank, and that'll be another extra base hit for Ryan Cole. That'll bring up Nick Jouer.
Brian Cole swinging the bat and getting out of the box and just getting to second base. The ball did not make the wall, but again, he made that double between home and first.
Ground ball out in front of the DH. Lacey to first to retire him. But 2 more runs come in for the 16th ranked Fighting Irish. Up another big blast by Ryan Cole. Oh. Carter Putz doing Carter Putz things this weekend. A single and a double on Friday. Yesterday, a single, a double, and a home run. And today now, a walk and a 2-run home run. This one going 376 to the opposite field. Logan Lacey tried to lay one down and it rolls just foul.
You see Florida State trying to do something different and continue to get runners on base and get themselves in position to score. But again, they're just finding themselves in a position where they're going to have to continue to chip away at runs.
Lacey struck out in the first. A full count breaking ball retired him there. A 5-3 ground out will retire him here. That'll bring up Alex Terrell. And with more on Florida State's first baseman, here's Emily Peters.
Yeah, after that half inning, Sean, Alex came running back into the dugout and he just shouted, "Punch him back right here, punch him back right here." The Notre Dame scored a couple runs there, but he was right back to hype up his team and say, "This is it."
Thank you so much, Emily. He lifted that one into foul territory, going opposite field himself. A walk earlier today for Terrell. He would come in to score on a wild pitch. Actually, it was a pass ball, then the wild pitch would advance Albert in the very next sequence. This one a mile high in the air, got underneath it a touch. Right fielder Coates calls off the second baseman, Jared Miller, who went way out in the grass with the shift applied. 2 down.
We've seen a lot of second baseman's making plays. But again, this may be the furthest I've seen the second baseman go out all year. And you have to be able to love it to have your senior right fielder come in and call you off on the ball well out there in right field.
Terrell is one of the only players that Notre Dame is playing the shift on, and just again to say that they are playing him perfectly is an understatement. I think right now he's found very little success so far this series, and I think it's a true testament to the scouting that goes on behind the scenes.
Walked on 4 pitches earlier, that fly out to right. And to your point, there just hasn't been a whole heck of a lot really for either team's entire lineup to this point. Some strikeouts and a walk yesterday for Terrell. And then on Friday, a handful of strikeouts and a ground out.
Yeah, come on, keep going.
Only hit of the game for Florida State belongs to this man, Brett Roberts. Dropped things off here for the Fighting Irish. Both the first and the third kicked off by the very top of the order for Notre Dame. Both the second, now the fourth, starting here in the 7th spot with Coetzee. Coates's put a charge into this one, a mile high in the air, looking for the scoreboard, but just shy of the wall at the warning track. Trayton Rank tracks it down.
Coach Martin said that Ross Dunn needs to get that pitch down in the zone a little bit. These Notre Dame hitters are taking full advantage of balls up in the zone, and Ross Dunn does exactly that. That ball might have been over the heart of the plate a little bit too much, but again, it was down in the zone, which prevents Coetzee from being able to do too much.
Best fastball of the day, up and in. They have not hit his fastball well. They've hit his off-speed stuff that he's gotten up in the zone.
1-1 to the catcher, Lamanna.
The breaking pitch, even though it was down and in, he got on top of it. Terminology nowadays, he's been elevating his off-speed. That's not what you want.
Yeah, as a hitter, that's exactly what we're looking for, something elevated in the zone that's a little bit slower.
Lamanna going opposite field. Ferrer with a good read on it. 2 down.
Number 14, Zach Preisner.
And here's Zach Preisner. All ACC tournament a season ago. Jumping on the first pitch here from Dunn.
If you're going to leave a pitch elevated in the zone, you want it to be exactly that. 94 miles an hour, a little bit in on the hands. Great location.
He got ahead of him his last at-bat, ended up punching him out on a 1-2 changeup. Slider up, didn't swing at it, strike 2.
Might be up in the zone, but still, again, the little bit of the hook that it has might be deceiving as an offensive player.
Hot shot right back up the box and through into right center field. Ferrer on top of it. That will hold Preisner at first. That's his first base hit of the weekend.
Dunn's been hurt, giving up 0-2 base hits. He did it last inning to follow with a home run. You get the leak, that 9th hitter in the order. Changeup just got too much part of the plate, hit against the shift. Back to the top of the order, Sean.
And that's something that we saw in that midweek game last week against Florida, is Florida State kind of selling out for those pitches on the shift, but getting beat continually by them. I might be lessening the way in which I'm approaching my shift. Again, not trying to do too much, not trying to have Brett Roberts over so far on the other side of second base. Maybe playing more middle, knowing that Ross Dunn's leaving the balls over the middle of the plate just a little bit.
And so that'll bring up TJ Williams.
What? No!
Ball Ball down in the dirt. Preisner had thoughts to advance to second, ends up staying at first.
You hear the voice there of Mike Martin Jr. at first at the dugout. Ball in the dirt. He started. He first yelled, "He go, go, go! No, no, no!" They want to throw that ball if you don't need to.
Up and foul.
Preisner at first base, 1 out of 2 in stolen bases. Maybe a time right here. Link Jarrett played for Mike Martin. It'd be a good time here for a delayed steal. If he gets thrown out, you have the leadoff hitter coming back up next inning.
Meanwhile, Ross Dunn looking for strikeout number 6.
Dunn had the same thought.
Uh-huh. The shortstop stepping back out.
Link Jarrett and I read that same book for many a year. They started the runner. If he gets thrown out, you got the leadoff guys. This is baseball.
Exactly, and he's in a pitcher's count for sure. He's a 1-2 count, 2 outs. Obviously, again, not a bad time.
You go look for an off-speed pitch in the dirt, maybe something down the zone. It's a chess match, not checkers. It's a chess match. Your move, my move.
Preisner 1 for 2 on his stolen base attempts this season.
Team's on the year of 3 out of 5 with Dunn on the mound.
Two the count to T.J. Williams.
Doing what hitters hate and do what runners hate. Just hold the ball. Make them maybe tip what they're going to do. Dunn just held it. Just an easy throw to first.
Pitch count at 65 for Ross Dunn. Got him. Fastball for strikeout number 6. Ross Dunn fans T.J. Williams for the second time in as many innings. This one ends the 4th. Notre Dame with a 2-run lead.
Welcome back to Tallahassee. We're heading into the bottom of the 4th, and we've still got a score of 5-3, Notre Dame on top, and I'm here with their leader, head coach Link Jarrett. Now, talking about hitting, all 5 of your runs were scored from home runs. What can you say about your bats today?
Well, we've got some experienced guys that had an understanding of what they were trying to do coming into this game, and Putz has taken some good swings. Cole, Miller, there have been some good attempts by our team offensively. Now, the first inning, we obviously didn't get the start we wanted out of Temple, but Aiden has been so reliable for us. Hopefully he can settle things down, and after the home run, really his best inning so far was the bottom of the 3rd inning, which was key to kind of hold them in check and allow us to try to continue to score.
Now, what is the key to holding this lead and coming away with the sweep this weekend?
Well, it's going to be the effectiveness of the guys in the bullpen, and some of these guys are going to make their second appearance of the weekend out of the bullpen, so we just hope that we can be efficient with their warm-up, and then when they're out there, they're sharp like they've been all weekend for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Emily.
Yes, thank you, Emily, as we get set to resume the action here in the bottom of the 4th. Let's try this again. Albert Vincent Rank will do the honors for Florida State here. And Albert, first pitch swinging straight away center field. couple steps shy of the track. TJ Williams tracks it down.
I think it's pretty cool to have the interviews during the ball game, and really some good questions were asked. And asking Link Jarrett, who his experience, it's a great experience for him coming down here, a former Florida State player, a coach in the program, and again a 2-0 lead in this series, looking to go for the juggler, for the sweep.
It's been a big weekend for Link Jarrett, suffice it to say, coming back home from here, born and raised here, as Colton Vincent drops one in left. The catcher thought about two for a second, and now the throw comes in and airmails the second baseman Miller, so he'll do just that. Good read times 2 for the catcher.
Great piece of hitting by Colton Vincent, but I'm even more impressed at the aggressiveness on the base path. He got a great aggressive lead as he rounded first base and really just allowed the play to develop, read the overthrow, and easily advanced to second.
Second hit of the game for Florida State. And let me just say, this is a point I was trying to make. His first time at the plate, and he grounded out pretty quickly to second. Colton Vincent started off struggling a little bit at the plate for Florida State. When you look at his batting average in ACC play coming into the weekend, it was right around 280, and he's recorded multiple hits this weekend. He has really shown his best stuff in conference play as Rank does a wonderful job getting the bunt down past Tyrell, the pitcher, drawing in the first baseman and scampering in there with nobody home. Perfect placement by the left fielder.
Great bunt by Trayton Rank. That ball goes into no man's land. That ball is so hard for the pitcher to get because it's working its way up the first base line, and you have your first baseman back, allowing your pitcher to defend their position. But again, that ball was just perfectly placed.
Logan Lacey put a bunt down last inning, and Notre Dame's defense did not adjust or did not, hey, we have a 2-run lead. Bunt's not going to beat us. They're playing back defensively. Florida State saw both the third base as well as first base playing back. Pretty good bunt there. Again, a ball up in the zone, but got on top of it and got it by the pitcher. Runners on the corners here, Sean. 1 out.
First pitch swing and Jordan Carrion. I'll tell you what, Trayton Rank has seen 3 plate appearances. He got the start yesterday, and then James Tibbs came in after Rank walked once yesterday. So a walk yesterday, a walk today, and now a bunt single for Rank, making the most of his opportunities here this weekend. Jordan Carrion opposite field and foul.
Going up back to the leadoff batter this inning. The ball hit hard to left field. Ryan Cole, Sr., making an errant throw. Again, a throw that you have to throw it on the bag. You have to hit your cutoff man. You're not going to throw anybody out as far as he went. Allowed Vincent to get to second base. Now push bunt. Runners on the corners.
And to your point, Alex, that aggressive turn at first induced an error that Notre Dame doesn't commit many of those. So tip the cap to the catcher and then to the left fielder for putting runners on the corners and making the most of some opportunities here.
It's all about applying pressure to the defense because you've got to make them make good throws on the money, and that's just, it's a hard thing to do. Are they really good at it? Yes, they are, time and time again. Obviously, Chip, you touched on it, their little amount of errors throughout the season.
The ground ball here goes to short. Preisner goes to second for 1. Notre Dame does not turn the double play, although they certainly tried. Run scores, it's a 1-run game. Two and 1 the count here to Tyler Martin.
So much composure in the box. Tyler Martin continues to impress me. You know, just coming back from the injury, I'm so impressed just at his ability to be patient. He doesn't lunge at the ball. It comes so naturally.
Limited work this season for Tyler Martin. Finally getting closer to 100%. Strike 2 called. And the throw down to second does get Carrion. A
little bit of confusion.
Instead, it's a full count to Tyler Martin.
Being hard with the fastball in on the hands.
And I think the outcome of this game is really going to depend on who responds right now. Obviously, controversial call. Notre Dame on the defensive side, Florida State on the offense. Who's going to take advantage of the missed opportunity?
Guides this one to third. Brannigan, sidearm throw, the stretch applied, and Tyler Martin is safe. I don't know. I would have to say that must mean Carter putts. From our angle, you can't really tell with the back of the foot if it was still touching the base.
The umpire didn't think so. The umpire thought Putz pulled his foot on the throw. Obviously, you have Brannigan on the left side of the field, third base, coming in, a crash and do or die. It looks like his foot was off the bag, and the umpire had a perfect angle.
Jim Russell there at first base, seeing the play. 38 errors. Florida State in turn has made 33 errors, so that's how good a defense Notre Dame has.
One and two to the freshman, who's walked and struck out in the first and in the second.
He chased a curveball earlier.
Full count.
Changes things just a little bit. Martin at first base is going to be going on the pitch. That takes away the force at second. Both middle infielders are playing deep. They're going to make the play at first if they get a ground ball.
Brannigan on top of it. To first it goes to retire the side. A run will score for Florida State in the fourth inning, but none more. Although Ferrer hit that one.
You're an outfielder, Alex. You played the game. You always have to be constantly checking the sun, the location where you are in your position. Here's another one.
Terrell calls for it.
You can see Terrell kind of fighting the sun a little bit, and that's going to be the situation no matter where you play in the field. The sun can always be a contender and an issue, but again, especially in the infield, if you can have pre-pitch talk, and you know, if Terrell and Brett are having the conversation, hey man, I've got sun this direction, whatever, it allows for planning to be able to help with one another recover. So you see right there, Ross Dunn kind of takes a step off, obviously too, because he's a pitcher. Pitchers don't catch fly balls. That's probably the #1 rule in baseball.
Well, he quickly looked up in the sun, and he doesn't wear sunglasses. He quickly got his eyes out of there, and hopefully his first baseman, Terrell, as he did, come in and make the play. 2 out.
It's all about communication, that pre-pitch talk. How can we help each other?
This is what Dunn has struggled some today, giving up 5 runs, all of them on home runs with runners on. Finish out the inning. He's got a couple quick pit outs. Finish out the inning now quickly, 2-0.
To the guy who recorded the 2-run home run to give Notre Dame what was at that point a 5-3 lead over Florida State a couple innings ago in Carter Putz. First strike. Home run goes along with the walk. That came back in the first.
After the breaking pitch for the strike, came back and located a fastball in. Two.
The strikeout would be number 7 for Dunn and would keep the momentum rolling for Florida State.
Even that breaking pitch there on the 2-2 count got too much of the plate, not down in the zone, going with it, fouled it off to the right side. Look for the fastball.
Got it and got him. For the first time today, Carter Putz is retired. 7th strikeout for Ross Dunn. Arguably none bigger. The Noles ride momentum. Oh, Canada time. Next.
Talking about a family affair here. Link Jarrett back in town for the first time in many years. mom and dad, there's Mr. Link there, a Florida State Seminole baseball player, wearing Notre Dame stuff. Mother, Miss Sally, Jen, his wife, is behind there wearing a Notre Dame hat. 2 weekends ago, they were up there. Jen, their son, JT, was playing at NC State. She was wearing the NC State red. But Jen's a Seminole through and through, a former cheerleader here. Say, you got to take care of people when you can.
Great to see the Jarrett family in the house. And Logan Lacey sneaks that one right under the glove of Zach Preisner.
See Lacey, good stroke there. Alex through the left side.
Yeah, ball in the outer part of the plate, and Lacey does a really good job just recognizing it out of the hand of Terrell and just able to get his bat head around that ball a little bit, drive it in the 5-6 hole.
1-run ball game, leadoff hitter on.
And we take a look at the defense here for Notre Dame. Alex Terrell is the only athlete on the Florida State offense that is getting the shift played on them, obviously looking at his tendencies.
Towering high in the air, Brannigan comes into the infield and secures it.
Brannigan is a really good defender. I really enjoy watching him play. He's very composed. He's extremely talented. He's made plays on the line. He's made plays in the 5-6 hole. Really, really good athlete.
Kept Florida State from knotting it up in the most recent
Yeah, that could have been a
inning.
game-changer play.
One over the count to Brett Roberts. Off goes Lacey. LaManna's throw gets into center field, and Lacey will stay at second. TJ Williams covers well. Notre Dame throwing it around the park a little bit more than we've seen, or anybody really has seen all season.
But that's a true testament to what Florida State is doing. They're applying pressure to the defense. Lacey made the good call on that, the right call, probably not advancing. He didn't recognize it soon enough, so a little bit of hesitation prevented a potential out at third base.
The key to that play is TJ Williams in center field, not waiting for the ball to hit the grass. He's coming hard, and he kept Lacey from getting to third base.
Controlling the damage, right? Mitigating the risk and just trying to get hold on what's going on.
Roberts, that will move Logan Lacey to third. Two outs on the board, tying run 90 feet away.
And what I'm noticing too now, for the first time for what seems like all weekend, Florida State is finally putting the ball in play pretty aggressively, pretty hard. You know, they're finally getting a hold on the Notre Dame pitchers overall and applying that pressure that we've been talking about to the defense.
Mike Martin Jr. with a conversation with his senior center fielder, Reese Albert. Reese swung first pitch swinging his last at-bat. Fly ball to center field.
Notre Dame applying the shift now to Albert as well.
Yeah, that's the first time we've seen it all weekend.
Good call there by Doug Vines, a veteran umpire, former Major League umpire. The ball batted. Reese Albert coming out, the ball hit his foot up in the middle of the box.
But the thing is, too, he was still in the back half of the box, so even though he took a step and a half, he was still in the box when that ball came up and fouled off of him.
0-1 to Albert. Make it 0-2.
Oh.
That one got behind LaManna. Lacey scampers home and is punched out.
What a great recovery. Again, the play was called an out. Let's see if Lamont got the ball quickly to Tyrell. Oh, that may be a late tag, a high tag in the chest. Did Lacey get the hand in there? McVine's on top of the play. There's the angle. That's the angle we need. A good job there, the pitcher covering the plate, block the plate with your foot. Wow.
The umps will go to the monitor and take a look at every angle.
I'm not generally a huge fan on head first slides into home plate simply because I like my face, I like my teeth, but nonetheless, I think that it gives the runner a really good awareness of what's going on directly in front of them and the ability to kind of make shift with their body a little bit, which is what we saw Logan Lacey do.
Well, sometimes in that situation, Alex, you go in and you give them your left hand and swim in the right hand. You have to take a chance and opportunity there with 2 out. Here's another look from center field. See Lacey trying to go back door with the right hand. Did the hand get there before he tagged him?
It looks like it might have. He got him right in the stomach area, upper chest.
How many tight plays can you see in 1-2 inning sequence?
Umpire has to make a quick call. Everything's happening right in front of him. Lacey him diving, and watch him pull the left hand back, swims in with the right hand. They're going to have to make a decision.
The call on the field in the moment was that Lacey is out at home.
A lot of times you would teach a runner to, there's a good play there. There's the call. See what they're looking for.
And based on that angle,
it looks like he might have gotten that right.
I agree completely.
He's safe. This crowd's going to erupt because that ties up the game.
And that's such a huge momentum swing, because if the call stands, we aren't the umpires. They're the ones making the call here. If it stands, inning over. If it is overturned, tie game. And we got a whole new ball game now.
Maybe the most important replay of the year from Florida State just to tie this game up. They live here in the 5th. If they do score, the Animals in Section B going to take full credit. It's their inning. Link Jarrett is sitting in the chair where we're at. He's been up here as an announcer back when he finished playing professional baseball. He didn't have the opportunity to watch these replays working with Gene Deckerhoff back in the day.
Tip the cap to John Hayes operating the high home camera, getting this angle. It is by far and away the best one. A lot of good angles, but that is by far the most clear look.
Lacey's still selling it to Mike Martin Jr., who has to ask.
And as an athlete, though, you generally have a good feel on what you felt in that moment. There's so much awareness, so much competitiveness that goes on. You know, I don't see it very often where the athlete is really fighting for themselves because they know that they're dead wrong. Trust me, it's well worth it.
We can take one more look at it, I believe, and see exactly what's going on here. Again, this is the look from right behind home plate. And you're looking at the tag and the right hand of Logan Lacey.
Hopefully the producer and our director can show the umpires this clip.
Umpires are 1 out of 2 this inning. See what happens.
And they will stick with the call at the plate. That is it for Lacey and the 5th. Florida State came that close to tying it up with Notre Dame here at Hauser, but instead, you be the judge. The Irish lead by 1. Back here at Mike Martin Field to start the 6th inning. Chip, you mentioned that Link Jarrett's family is looking on here, Tallahassee natives all, and they are standing by with our own Emily Peters.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Over here with the family right up top, I got Sally over here, and then Lincoln, we got Link's father, Lincoln, excuse me. I hear that you guys don't really have the opportunity to travel very much. And so what does it mean for you and Sally to be out here to watch Link coach?
Well, we're just limited travel-wise, but we have TV coverage, radio coverage, so we keep up with things.
And speaking of that, I see the grandson. She's got the phone out so that you can watch him. It's like you can watch both at the same time, right?
Right. Yeah. We try to keep up with FSU, NC State, and Notre Dame, but particularly NC State and Notre Dame.
And continuing the support system, I'm over here with Link's wife, Jennifer. Now, this blew my mind. What kind of weather are you going back to up in Notre Dame?
Well, this morning Link told me to check the radar to see what we'd go home to, and I think the high was 32 today, and we had 4 inches of snow when we left Friday morning. So we'll go back to snow and freezing weather. So this is perfect baseball weather today.
So didn't mind the rain, the little bit of cool yesterday. This is beautiful, perfect.
This is perfect. Didn't mind, it wasn't really that cool for us yesterday, but this is perfect.
And now for you also, this is a homecoming for you too. You grew up here in Tallahassee, went to Florida State as well. What does it mean for you to come back here as a homecoming for yourself?
It's great. My parents still here, Link's parents, and we both grew up and we went to Florida High School here on that was just over in left field when it was here, and so coming back and then going to Florida State and coming back, it's pretty neat. It's a homecoming. It's pretty neat to come back.
Well, thank you so much. I won't keep you guys any longer. Continue watching the game.
All right, Emily, thank you so much. So cool to hear from Link Jarrett's family looking on above third base while their son/husband's Fighting Irish squad hang on to a 1-run lead that they are now trying to pad here at Hauser.
As I call him, Mr. Link. Mr. Lincoln up there was a Florida State baseball player, played back in the early 60s, 250 batting average.
The Florida State lineage runs deep.
The leadoff base on balls to Ryan Cole will now bring up Nick Jouer. A fly out, a ground out for Jouer to this point. And Colton Benson's going to make a trip out. Jouer, like Jared Miller, a switch hitter in Notre Dame's order. And so as the DH steps in, Mike Martin Jr. wants to make a pitching change. He's already got another gold jersey coming in from the bullpen. And after 5 innings of work, Ross and the Seminoles have reached the conclusion of their starters' day. We'll set the scene when we come back here in the 6th in Tallahassee. Ross Dunn's start has reached its conclusion, and so in steps the sophomore from St. Cloud, Florida, Jackson Nizu. 7th appearance for Nizu, whose ERA is at 2.84 through 6 1/3 combined innings of work. 6 hits, 8 strikeouts to 4 walks. And so for Ross Dunn, he ends up going 5 full innings, 5 hits given up, 5 earned runs, all coming off of 2 home runs. Struck out 7, walked 2. 82 total pitches, 56 of them were strikes. We'd mentioned yesterday that Jackson Baumeister was one of the names that was in the fray to perhaps be the Sunday starter. As Mike Martin Jr., Jimmy Ballinger and company were looking to round out the rotation and figure out who was going to fit where. Jackson Nizu was also part of that conversation, so he gets the call here to relieve Dunn.
You look at Jari, you mentioned a switch hitter now on the left-handed side. Jackson Nizu facing left-handed batters. They're only 1 out of 9 with him on the mound.
Fastball up to Jouer.
Sean, you mentioned that Nizu was a potential starter and in the conversation for some of those starting positions throughout the series. But again, I think it just shines light on the success of Florida State's bullpen overall, how many arms that they really have that are viable options.
Certainly so, and I want to go back also to yesterday because in the midst of Florida State's rally and the Notre Dame's response to that rally, I think lost a little bit in that is the effort of Jackson Baumeister, who really locked things down for Florida State, had a career day, and kept the Noles from going even deeper into the bullpen than they did, which leaves an option like Mizzou open on a Sunday.
Yeah, you need the ability for somebody to come in the middle of the game and eat up some innings because, again, you've got your starter that's going to go as long as they possibly can, and this is a crucial spot in the game right now, only within 1 run.
And Jouer rackets one right through the right side. Pretty good throw coming in from Ferrer, but now it gets away from Lacey and gets into Mizzou, who covers well. Oh, my goodness.
I think the ball got into the dugout, and that's one thing. Ryan Cole made the big turn, thought the ball got into the dugout. Nezu left his feet to keep the ball from going in. There is a line over there. Did the ball cross the line? And that's what you got to look at. The fence railing keeps everybody back. Back in the day, there used to be gloves up there, cups and everything else. There's an opening at the end of the dugout.
Well, and with that dead ball, generally the runner gets 2 bases, which is ultimately why Cole could have potentially scored on that.
And on the backside of all of that confusion, Jouer is now standing at third.
My question is, should it be an automatic 2 bases? Because right there we're going to see that Cole was stopping at third.
Here's a replay. Ball did not cross. You got a play there.
But the umpires were a little bit caught up themselves.
Wow. I thought maybe go look at that, but
I guess my question would be, why does he automatically get to score? Because it wasn't like he was actually,
You freeze it where when the ball was thrown, hit the runner going into third. Hit Ryan Cole going first to third on the play. Base running bounces have not gone Florida State's way here in the last couple of innings. Might get a chance that ball may have pretty good throwing arm in right field. But Ferrer in right field.
It's ruled a single by Jouer. That much we know. They're going to attach an RBI to it. They'll say that Cole advanced to third and scored on a throwing error. I think the scoring system's even a little bit confused as well. Let's take another look.
Did his foot go in the dugout? Did his foot go over the line? It's close.
This one's popped up into foul territory. It'll catch the netting.
Go again, leadoff walk, scored. That always happens, it seems.
Yeah, I'm reading through the official description here on the scoring monitor. The part that's tripping me up is they're attaching an RBI to the base hit. Then they're also saying that Cole scored on the throwing error by the right fielder. So I'm not sure how both of those things can exist within the same context. As Coetzee flies out to left. Jouer, who advanced all the way to third, is going to swim in and score.
give a team, Notre Dame, the experienced ball club, deep fly ball enough there. Right, give it a good effort to get the throw to the plate. Had their lead here 7-4 in the 6th.
Pulled to third. Lacey to first.
Lacey backed up a step on that play to get his footwork going and got a good strong throw to first. 2 out.
Lifted to right center field. Albert tracking it down on the track. And these bizarre innings just continue to find a way to get even more so. Despite that, Notre Dame leads by 3. Bryce Hubbard coming on out to have a word with the umpiring crew. Doug Vine saying that he was, I guess, in his estimation, in the dugout. Bryce Hubbard giving it an extra look to identify exactly what Vines is talking about. Well, we've seen a lot of interesting turns of events here this afternoon. We've seen some incredibly tight plays. We've seen some quirky things. We've seen some complicated scoring decisions. We've seen Notre Dame commit multiple errors, which they've not really done at all this year. Despite that, Notre Dame leads by 3. Florida State's put the bat on the ball a little bit here. They've walked a handful of times. Had what was at one point a tying run thrown out at home, and now Reese Albert singles up the middle. Did I handicap that pretty well?
I think that's a good summation of everything that's happened so far, but to say that this weekend hasn't been a little bit crazy would be an understatement. Really close games, the first and second game of the series today. Obviously, it's going to be a dogfight. Florida State's playing right now to best prepare themselves for the rest of the season, for postseason play. Every at-bat's an opportunity to really prepare and get some more experience under their belt.
Reese Albert experienced that bat there. 1 ball, 2 strike count, drove it back up the middle. You just really have to tip your cap to the great job that Aiden Terrell has done. 4.2 innings plus. Just really held down Florida State's offense. Only the 5th hit the Noles have picked up today.
We'll be back to Tallahassee in a moment as Jackson Denny's gets the call for the Fighting Irish. Jackson Denny's gets the call for the second time this weekend for the Fighting Irish. Sophomore from River Ridge, Louisiana. 6th appearance on the season, 5 2/3 combined innings of work, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts, a couple of walks.
Came in yesterday's ballgame, the first reliever for Notre Dame through 2/3 of an innings. 22 pitches. He picked up a strikeout, then a base hit, and back-to-back base on balls. Bases were loaded. He got Brett Roberts to ground out into a double play.
So he will step back in here and square off with Colton Vincent. Reese Albert started off the inning by singling up the middle. It's announced the catcher Vincent, whose batting average is up to 239. I'd mentioned that he's been hitting around 280 in conference play coming into the weekend. He's 4 for 8 this weekend, so that number is going to continue to rise for Colton Vincent, the catcher doing good work in conference play at the plate.
First pitch off speed, swinging, strike one.
Quick throw to first, Albert safe.
How big are those 2 runs last inning for Notre Dame picked up? You're getting a 1-run ball game. You get a first runner on. You got a chance. Maybe one guy runs into one, but now a 3-run lead takes multiple hits. Multiple base runners.
The turn of events in the last inning from what could have been a tie game to a run scoring and a sac fly plate and another one, and it's just been strange to say the least.
And a change in scoring between innings, going back to the play at third.
Yes, for sure. So we've ironed out, at least in the scoring, that Jaguar will not be credited with an RBI, which makes sense because if you're going to tack an error onto Jaime Ferrer's throw, then the run would score off the error, not off the base hit through the right side. Well hit line to right, and Albert will have to retreat.
Another check in the box on a well hit ball by Colton Vincent. Maybe he'll have in the month of May, he'll start getting some balls to drop because he's made some good contact.
I was going to say, what would his batting average on balls in play actually be?
Just keep grinding. Well hit ball, almost 100 miles an hour or so off the bat on a line drive to right at 97 miles an hour. Squared it up well. They always say it's the toughest sport in the world. You one guy against 9 out there. Hit her right at him.
First pitch breaking ball to Trayton Rank. And there for strike one. Rank walked in the second, reached on a perfectly placed bunt single in the fourth.
Jackson Dibby's coming in and getting the line drive out, 1 out, came back in, and now he's up 1 ball, 2 strikes. He is not the big arms that Notre Dame has. They have a couple guys in the bullpen can throw the ball in the upper 90s. Dibby's slider and a fastball about 91, 92.
And something newer, at least from my perspective, is some of these guys that are in the mid part of the game or even the relievers are coming in multiple times in the weekend. And that's not necessarily something that I've become accustomed to yet. So it's interesting to me to see Terrell get a couple outings, Denny's get a couple outings, and just continue to be brought back in.
Strike 3 to Trayton Rank, the first time he's been retired this weekend. He's walked a couple times, and then, of course, the aforementioned bunt single.
Denny's does such a good job just placing this ball, a fastball in the outer part of the plate. It just looks like it freezes Rank, and you can tell he wants that one back.
You always have to look away and adjust inside and put him to sleep with the hard slider and hit with the fastball, as you mentioned.
That's the thing, Chip. As a hitter, I never want to look like I'm surprised. I want to be prepared for whatever pitch is going to come. You've obviously scouted. You have a good idea of who you're going to see throughout the game. So just kind of knowing what it is that they throw and what they're going to try and get you out with.
You go up to the plate, nobody on. You look at his ball in a certain zone with 2 strikes. You got to just look away and adjust and hope your hands can take over. Not a whole lot of thought process, just react.
So much of it's situational too. Again, knowing the situation, nobody on, nobody out, runners on certain bases and things like that.
See LaManna down there trying to work that ball back toward the plate here. 2-0 to Carillon.
Couple of fielder's choices for Jordan Carillon, both of the 6'4" variety.
Carillon doing a good approach or just driving the ball the other way, fouling it off. They come back here with a slider or something in on the hands. 2-2. Slider in on the hands. How about that? Instead of the fastball. Started off on your front hip. Sawed him off. Staying alive with 2 strikes.
Carillon's made some good contact, gone the opposite way. Rocketed one through the right side for an RBI single in the second yesterday. Goes down swinging here. That'll end the bottom of the 6th here in Tallahassee. Top of the order, 2 up for Notre Dame. We'll take a look at our game summary, and I think we've seen a little bit of everything, including a scoreboard seeker in the first off the bat of the left fielder, Ryan Cole. Notre Dame would plate 3 off of the big fly. Florida State would plate 3 as well in the first, courtesy of Brett Roberts. He would get the party started, inducing a collision in shallow center. 2 more runs eventually would come in to score. Fast forward to the 3rd inning and another home run. Guess who? Carter Putz out to right and toward the circus. Florida State would come within 1 run of the Fighting Irish until an awkward and weird sequence at the dugout would allow a run to score, and then a sac fly would score another one. The DH Nick Jouer coming in, and that leads us to this, where it now stands at 7-4. Notre Dame trying to increase their lead as we head to the top of the 7th.
It's your typical Sunday baseball game in the ACC. It's not just pitching and defense. You got a couple big flies, but you got some crazy defensive plays today.
Mizzou back out to work his 2nd inning. Breaking ball for ball 2.
Mizzou's fastball can get about 95. His slider and also a split finger.
Got underneath it. 3 Noles converge on it. And secured in left by Trayton Rank.
Trayton Rank, an infielder by trade. He's in the ball game out there playing right field. Florida State's trying to get some more offense going. Looking up in that Sunday sunshine. 1 out.
That'll bring up Jared Miller, a guy that Link Jarrett has described as a, quote, baseball rat. A dude who is very sharp and in tune with the game as much as any player Coach Jarrett has said he's ever coached.
I had a coach say that to me before. You know, at some point throughout your career, you're going to reach your physical capacity, the best you're going to get physically, but how smart can you be? And that's what's going to set you apart if you really have a good feel and knowledge of the game.
2-1 the count here to Miller. One of a handful of grad students on the roster and in the lineup for the Fighting Irish. Make it 2-2. Miller also a pretty darn good base runner. And he goes opposite field, and we'll get a chance to see what base running capabilities he has. Second hit of the game for Jared Miller.
Switch hitter does not try to do too much. He's got the ball middle part of the way on the plate. Just drove it to left field. One out here. The senior from Marietta, Georgia, is the guy that I think everybody in the green uniforms looks for his leadership and his defensive play as he does. And again, adds a base hit here.
Snap throw to first. Miller 5 of 6 on the base paths. Had a big lead off first, and Colton Vincent tried to pick him off. Off goes Miller. Throw into second is on the money.
Colton Vincent has not let the frustration as a hitter go to his defense. Took the ball in. You have to get your body turned through a strike to second base.
Vincent with a full-on hose behind the plate. I mean, that ball was up in the zone on the hands of the hitter in Brannigan, and Vincent just came up with a gun.
Again, the pitch was up and in, and that's a difficult throw for a catcher because you have to reach to catch it, and you got to pull that ball back to your body, get your body turned, and throw the ball, as you mentioned, a strike to second.
And so from 1 out with run runner on to 2 outs and nobody on, it changes the complexion of this full count to Brannigan.
Coach is out there working with catchers. 2 outs, 2 strikes story. You always have a catcher throwing a ball to second base in his full gear with a hitter in the batter's box. It's a different feeling if you don't. Have the hitter in there when you're working your drills, and always wear the gear.
Popped up. Shading into foul territory. Terrell secures it. Prior to this plate appearance.
This is the guy who has made Florida State go in his couple starts, and he played in yesterday's game as a pinch hitter. He's a big factor. Florida State's got to get back in this ball game, down 3 runs here in the 7th.
Fastball strike from Denny's to Tyler Martin.
He's working from the set position here. Pure reliever. Painting a corner there. You got to credit your catcher making that a strike.
Opposite field, that'll drop. Tyler Martin, as you mentioned, Chip, makes this offense go. Really does a tremendous job of extending the batting order. Sees a lot of pitches, battles a lot of them off, and oftentimes also finds his way aboard at the tail end.
Tyler Martin does a good job just inside outing that pitch a little bit on the inner part of the plate, and he just keeps his hands inside the ball so well, drives it to left field.
And Link Jarrett's going to make a trip out. Pitching change could very well be on the way here. No movement from the bullpen into the field of play, but I do believe we just got a signal for one. And Denny's is, in fact, making his way off. Alex Rayo is getting the call to come in. He closed out the Friday game in extra innings for the Fighting Irish. He'll look to do something similar here today. We'll be back to Tallahassee in a couple of moments. Alex Rayo will take over here, bottom of the 7th, with Tyler Martin aboard. Florida State trying to find a way back into this one. Rayo, a senior from Hope Sound, Florida. Right there around Jupiter and the Palm Beaches. Great golf in that area, I must say. Pretty darn good pitcher, and Rayo hails from there too. 2.31 ERA, and this is 8th appearance through 11 2/3 prior combined innings.
We mentioned about the believers in that back end of the bullpen for Notre Dame. Has some guys that can throw some gas. This is one of them. Came into the ball game Friday night, picked up the win through 1 2/3 of an inning. His first batter he faced, this young man coming to the plate, Jaime Ferrer, walked him on the 3-2 count.
And Sean, he's at least the 3rd Notre Dame pitcher that we've seen that has come in multiple occasions throughout the series.
We'll see how he fares against Ferrer and the Seminoles here. The freshman first pitch swinging. Notre Dame will opt to record the force at second.
What a smart play that was. Just a nothing ground ball. A lot of times the third baseman would come field it and throw the ball to first. But the experience right there with this Brannigan throwing the ball to second, getting the lead out. You keep your double play in order, 1 out here. Not a double play ball.
Well hit through the right side off the bat of Logan Lacey.
If he'd have thrown the ball to first base, Florida State had a runner on second base. Maybe not a chance to score the run on that line drive, but you'd have runners on the corner. Just a well-hit ball, just a scorcher over 100 miles an hour off the bat. Florida State down 3 runs, has to play a little bit station to station.
And the difference maker in the last 2.5 games has really been the ability for Florida State to hit the long ball. Right now they're having to chip away with singles, and that's really hard to continue to compile a bunch of base hit singles. Somebody needs to step up and somebody needs to drive a ball to the deep part of the park.
Alex Terrell certainly capable, and that's a very interesting point, Alex. Florida State was on an extended home run streak. They had recorded home runs in 12 consecutive games leading into that midweek game against the Florida Gators. Lacey had one robbed at the left field wall. Tibbs put a charge into one to right center. Neither of them left the premises, and Florida State has not recorded one since.
I'm no mathematician, but to have to string together 3 and 4 singles to get a run across the board, and then the ability for somebody to hit a long ball, potentially scoring a run, again, huge difference maker.
Terrell saw first pitch slider, next pitch fastball, fouled it off late.
And the proof is on the scoreboard too, Alex. Each team with 7 hits. Florida State's done it, as you mentioned, predominantly with singles. 2 of the 7 for Notre Dame were home runs. Popped up, foul territory. Brannigan chasing it, and we'll watch it catch the netting.
And Chip,
Go ahead.
We talked earlier in the game just on this situation and really what pitch the pitcher is going to throw depending on where the runners are. And right now we see Terrell. Now they're kind of moving into a little bit more of the shift, but we saw the Notre Dame defense playing him pretty straight up. Right now you have your shortstop in Preisner shifted and shaded right behind second base on the left side, but again, really selling out for the pitches with Rayo.
Down goes Terrell.
Just worked him in and out and just came back and challenged the fastball on the inner third. See LaManna, the catcher, reaching across his body. 2 out.
Check swing by Brett Roberts. Singled in the first, struck out in the third, grounded out to first in the fifth.
Brett Roberts faced Rayo back in game 1. Just a tapper back to the mound.
Ground ball here. Goes to Miller at second, and then to first and putts. Florida State leaves a couple men aboard here in the bottom of the 7th. The lead still 3 for Notre Dame. Top 8 in Tallahassee. Notre Dame leads by 3. Right at the heart of the Irish order, it'll be Putz, Cole, and Jouer getting things started for Notre Dame. Jackson Nazoo back out after working through a couple of full innings. A couple of hits and an unearned run have come in. Against Nazoo. And so here once again is Carter Putz. Hit that one well, straight away center field. Carrying with the wind, and Albert lost it.
Probably the most experienced ball player Florida State has in the outfield. The ball hit dead center field. Alex, you play this game, you see the sun reflecting off his glasses. Got to find an angle.
Yeah, Chip, I think my biggest piece on that is kind of the way in which Albert coasted to the ball instead of kind of full-on sprinting, trying to get back to the wall, knowing that sun is a factor, and then trying to recover. No doubt about it, the sun is shining bright.
The sun's been up there for a gazillion years. You need to find a way to be able to get an angle on it.
Is gazillion a number?
A big number. Wow, leadoff double.
From a guy that Link Jarrett describes as being a solid hitter. He was an all-conference guy a season ago in Putz. And considering what we've seen this weekend, I find this a little bit moderately surprising. Link Jarrett said Carter Putz is, quote, not a huge home run hitter. Straightaway center, the double drops, but if it was anywhere else in the ballpark, he would have had yet another one this weekend.
I think he was putting it into existence.
Notre Dame looking for added insurance. Throw back to second. And there safely is Carter Putz.
One of the things is automatic. If the guy bunched through the ball, the catcher come up automatically throwing the ball through the second base. Again, a 3-run lead by Notre Dame. Florida State was not in a pure defensive setup for a sacrifice bunt. Carrion was playing fairly deep back there at second, not really holding the runner.
Bunt back to Whitaker. He'll go to first with it. That'll move the runners.
Get the ball on the ground. That's the big key as a bunter. You don't want to pop it up. You can bunt the ball back to the pitcher. The ball had 2 or 3 bounces. Not a chance for Whitaker to make a play anywhere but first base.
Well, and that's the importance of situational hitting, Chip. Spencer Myers comes in to do a job, and clearly he's a decent bunter, gets the ball down, does exactly what coach wants.
Sometimes you have to get out the dictionary. Let these young men look what the word sacrifice means. He sacrificed his at-bat, moved the runners up.
Well, Brooks Coetzee also has a sac hit here in this game. His drove in a run in his prior plate appearance, his most recent one.
It's only the 7th sacrifice bunt Spencer Myers has put down this year, number 7.
And we just saw a look at the Florida State defense. You've got your infield in playing for the play at the plate. Obviously a ground ball, you've got runners on second and third. They're gonna do what's called a ground ball read, a ball off the bat with a downward angle. Both runners are gone.
In addition to the sac fly, Coetzee has flied out to right and to left. And he looks at a 1-2.
Florida State really needs a strikeout right here.
Be the 8th for the staff. Bouncer gets into the glove of Roberts, who goes to first with it. Run scores for Notre Dame, but that eliminates a second run from coming in.
And Coetzee does a good job putting the ball on the ground in an aggressive effort. Brett Roberts has to leave his feet. Obviously, there's no play at home because as soon as that ball was hit, you have Carter Putz at third base.
Great jump again. If you play the infield back, a run scores. You play the infield in, that ball scored. But leaping and catching that ball, you save the run from scoring from second.
And that'll get by Logan Lacey. It'll score here. The catcher, David LaManna, late in a game where Notre Dame's trying to tack on some added insurance, comes through and makes sure they do.
This first pitch swinging and just pulled his hands through. Pure double down the line.
Fastball right over the heart of the plate. No doubt about it, you've got to take full advantage as a hitter. That's the pitch you're ready for.
Five-run lead for the Fighting Irish now. Who, after Florida State nearly knotted it up in the 5th, have extended it with 2 runs in the 6th and now in the 8th. Ground ball, glove by Lacey, off the hop, and he'll retire Preisner at first. But again, 2 more runs coming.
Cannot get the schedules to work out, but good, beautiful day to stay at the ballpark, watch some baseball.
Reese Albert will lead things off for Florida State here in the 8th inning. He did so a couple of innings ago and recorded a single up the middle off of Jackson Denny's. It was that single that I believe led to the pitching change here.
Doug Vines, a veteran behind the plate, knew that, but didn't trust his catcher. Make sure you get that leg out of the way. Pat the guy on the back. Thank you for not letting me get hit.
Single came off of Tyrell before Denny's came in. Then Denny's worked an inning, and now Rayo's worked an inning. Two, 1. Make it 3-1.
Notre Dame with 2 in the 6th really got on top again. 2 in the 8th, 5-run ball game here.
Down and inside to Albert.
Program, like you mentioned, Sean, you've got Clemson, you've got Duke, newer programs that are doing so well on a national scale. Virginia Tech's ranked 5th, so that's going to be a top 5 matchup this week over at Joanne Graff Field. And I love watching some softball, and specifically these days, I love ACC softball.
Florida State softball team apparently let up just a little bit after beating Virginia 9-0 each of the last 2 days. They won 7-2 today up in Charlottesville, so they complete the sweep over the Virginia Cavaliers, who have taken a step forward this season as well. Only 2 losses on the year for Lonnie Alameda in this current chapter of Florida State softball.
We've seen it on the baseball side too. Former players, coming through and making a difference within these other collegiate programs. And I'm starting to see my teammates, my peers, my opponents now on the softball side getting to coach collegiate teams and really make an impact throughout the country.
Count 2-2 here to Colton Vincent.
Colton Vincent might have did something to his hand. Obviously, as a catcher, has been battling hand injuries all year. That left thumb, that swing and miss. Brandon Stone, athletic trainer for Florida State's coming out. Let's see what happens with his hand or something. Good side view here. Says he's okay. That one hurt. You see him when he swung the bat. His left hand came off, and again the thumb. I asked him last week, I said, how's your thumb doing? Because it is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes that bone bruise or a bruise is often worse than an actual injury because it's nagging and it's relentless.
Ligament injury, took a foul tip earlier in the year.
Ground ball gloved by Miller at second, and the backhand flip does not get there.
Good. Just an outstanding defensive play just to get to the ball. Was ruled a base hit. Quickly
0-2 to Tibbs.
1-2-2 starts with you.
That ball is lasered out to right center field. It'll catch the fence. Albert rounding third. He will score.
Obviously, that opponent batting average is going up. That ball was lasered off the wall to right field. Albert at second base had to make sure the ball was not going to be caught. Nobody out, thinking of tagging if the ball's caught.
And that's the difference. Depending on positioning, you have Reese Albert at second. To your point, Chip, he's got to get just kind of not too far off because you don't want to be caught in no man's land. Might that ball be caught? But then you've got Colton Vincent directly behind him who immediately has to get a great jump. It was in tail.
Check swing there from Jordan Carrion.
Going through the old coaching theory, if there's one out, there's doubt, always get halfway. Okay, nobody out. Vincent saw it all the way. Martin Jr. held him up. That run doesn't mean nothing here. Florida State with 1 run on the board.
1-1 the count now to carry on, and Notre Dame hasn't applied the shift, but the second baseman Miller is shaded over an extra step from where he's been. Carry on has consistently, despite the fact that he hasn't recorded a base hit in this game, shown that he is willing to go opposite field here. I think that goes hand in hand with the point that Link Jarrett made, that we don't necessarily just rely on the analytics to determine if we're going to move a defender somewhere. We're going to base it off of what a guy has done against us that we've seen with our own 2 eyes. And so today, after seeing Carry On consistently go toward right field and into foul territory, Miller's played over a half step.
And that's the human factor.
Look, like coaching days, I did not have the computer analytics. I used to have guys foul 2 balls off, and the outfielders are already moving opposite way. If he's late, we're gonna keep coming at him.
Check swing, and he walks. Still nobody out for Florida State, and with the run across, now 1 swing of the bat can't hurt you.
Just a very good take, the ball down right there. Carry On learning the strike zone, turn it over to the next guy.
And that's the beauty, too, of being ahead in the count 3-1. Even if he had taken that pitch and the umpire called a strike, he's still got an opportunity. So, again, just kind of working the count, being patient in the box is proving to be of benefit for Florida State.
Ducks on the pond for the Seminoles, and Tyler Martin at the top of the order now stands in at the plate.
Tyler Martin faced Kimball yesterday and ended up walking and was on base when the game was ended.
So we'll see, we have the outfield playing in a medium position because you have Tyler Martin, who, again, just kind of finding his way back in the lineup, has recorded no home runs, only a double so far in the season in regards to power. So you've got your outfield playing in a very moderate position.
Found that one back. It goes 1-1.
The 11th inning on Friday night's ball game. Tyler Martin got a ball, pulled it deep, high fly ball to right field, just missed it. Again, that was his first live action, a full game live action all year.
High heat goes 1-2.
Tyler Martin did hit a grand slam last year. Grandmother had left the ballpark. I'm sure they're still here today. Grandfather of Mike Martin Sr. A lot of young kids in the ballpark today. They get to run the bases when the game's over. When Tyler Martin comes up to bat, the kids go down the left field line in foul territory, knowing he's going to foul some balls off. The kids have their gloves, catching a foul ball.
Another 1-2 coming. Once again, caught a piece of it. Alex, as a hitter, fresh off a pitching change, you get this guy up at the plate. We've talked a bit about how he can extend lineups. He sees a lot of pitches, fouls a ton of them off. If you've got a bat in your hand and you're heading into the on-deck circle in this high-leverage situation, how valuable is it to have this guy at the plate ahead of you?
It's huge because you're just trying to get more looks at the pitcher. You know, they saw Kimball the other night, but again, the more opportunities I can see his live arm, the better off I'm probably going to be in the box.
Ball 2.
Tyler Martin serves as such a great leadoff hitter just for that reason alone, just really allowing the teammates behind him to continue to see as many pitches as possible and put everyone else in a better position than if you were not in the lineup.
Ouch. Right back into the mask of Lamanna, the catcher for Notre Dame. That shakes up your jaw. I think Jared immediately out there. Hit the ear. Here's a side view. How about the shoulder? Ouch. Deflected into the ear.
That never feels good.
Never does.
It always hurts.
2-2 coming. Ground ball to short. 6-4. Starts off against Jaime Ferrer here. Quickly works ahead, 0-2. Fastball in there at 98 miles an hour.
We knew he had a good arm when he threw it across the infield. If you're down on the field, you can probably hear it when he threw the ball across the infield.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. I was just thinking that.
And he doesn't throw it straight. That ball has a little late life and a little bender to it. Works into the right-handed batter. I mean, Ferrer battling here. 0-2.
Brannigan, not just a guy who's a two-way guy in the respect that he plays third and can pitch, but before coming to Notre Dame, never really did play third. Was a shortstop, has also played center field, and he punches out Jaime Ferrer, 96 miles an hour.
We mentioned his ball had a lot late life. He started the ball off the plate and just broke it back in. You got to credit your catcher sticking that pitch, strike 3. Trying to go the same way with Lacey, missed away. Lacey, good at bat his last time up, drove the ball to right center. Off right-handed pitching.
Make them work. Come on, 3-2.
2-0 got the green light on the 97-mile-an-hour heater.
Just worked him up in the zone. The old rice ball, Alex.
They don't have those in
Late
baseball.
life. Right there, he's throwing one. Rising in pitch speed, 97 to 98. How about that, huh?
Well, that's the thing, too, about somebody that's coming in throwing gas. You don't have to swing out of your shoes as a hitter. Just try to get your barrel out and extend it and put the ball in play.
Ground ball, that'll get through. Another run will come in for Florida State. Tyler Martin holds up at second as Tibbs crosses home.
Being very effective throwing the ball up in the zone. That was a fastball that was down in the zone. Logan Lacey made him pay there. 2-out base hit.
And all of a sudden, tying run is aboard. Go-ahead run comes to the plate.
Florida State is making this very interesting.
Noles now out hitting Notre Dame 10-9.
As I mentioned, late life. That ball just coming in and diving away from Alex Terrell at the plate. Good time for him as a pitcher to go up in the zone.
Elevated to center. And that will put an end to the 8th inning. Florida State scratches across 3. They will need at least 2 more when we come back to Tallahassee for the top and bottom of the 9th. Tight ball game, top of the 9th. Notre Dame trying to find a little extra insurance after Florida State responds to 2 in the top of the 8th with 3 in the bottom. Sean Davison, Chip Baker, Alex Powers, Emily Peters, our entire crew here with you as Connor Whitaker comes out in the top of the 9th. After working through the 8th, inheriting a bit of a mess, limiting the damage to only the 2 runs that scored coming in. And now he squares off for a clean inning here with the Notre Dame bats. Top of the lineup, TJ Williams. First pitch swinging. A guy who's really impressed Link Jarrett with his ability to play center field and manage that position, has really come on strong in workouts this season and has made the most of the opportunities he's had to grow in every aspect of the game.
First pitch, changeup, pulled it foul. Next pitch, fastball, pulled it foul. Quickly 0-2. TJ Williams does not walk much. Only twice all year. Does not strike out much. He puts the ball in play. Only 12 strikeouts, 2 today.
Has popped up a couple of times as well. Count goes 2-2.
Well, that's what you want to try to hang on to that. Foul tip got him, but ball was dropped. Alex, what do you think?
I think that Vincent had it in his glove and just kind of got away from him. But again, that would be a big catch.
Williams goes down swinging.
And lucky he got a second chance.
And back with the hard slider off speed. Boom, got him.
Good start for Whitaker against a guy who's really been taking positive steps forward for Notre Dame, a team that is continuing to gel thanks to some strong team chemistry. And with more on that, here's Emily Peters.
Yeah, Sean, we talked to Coach Link Jarrett at the beginning of the game, and he told us, you know, they've really built some team chemistry that they weren't really able to have with the home games. They built it on the away games, and it's created kind of a different feel for the team because they mesh the seniors with the freshmen in the hotels just to kind of share some knowledge. Sean, what else did he say?
Well, he was talking quite a bit about how they don't have the luxury of playing at home all that often because of the weather, and so it makes it challenging to feel like you're at home. But in a weird way, you and me and Alex, we were all talking about how that us against the world type mentality and trying to gel on the road and get to know each other a little bit can also be incredibly invaluable.
Yeah, you kind of understand people better when you're on the road. It kind of tests your relationship, I'd say, when you're traveling with people so much, but it also kind of gels that relationship in a way that having home games doesn't really do.
All right, thank you so much, Emily. Alex, I'll go ahead and I'll dovetail that to you over here. I know you've been on the road plenty of times, and those can be really valuable experiences to build camaraderie as Jared Miller works a walk here. And Notre Dame's been able to do that fairly often here to start the season, just due to the whole geography of their situation.
No doubt about it. On the road, you know, you really learn, one, your routine, because you're kind of out of sorts. You don't have the comfortability of your own house, your own food and kitchen and everything else that comes with that. So you really get to spend some time with your team, and, you know, it's all about the meals, right? The meals in which that you have on the road at restaurants or being catered to the hotel or local, whatever that looks like. It's an opportunity to get around your teammates and have some conversation.
Brannigan will stay in to hit as the pitcher now.
Right off the shin, there's a protective on the shin. Talking about Notre Dame, they've had 6 home games scheduled. They've only played 3 of them. They're 2-1. They got a whole bunch of home games coming up. They don't have the luxury of playing the number of home games that Florida State has this year, which is, to me, a record of 36 scheduled home games.
Well, simply due to the weather, right?
Yeah.
You know, Link Jarrett says so much of their offense has depended on, you know, when they are home, the wind and everything else, the uncontrollable factors. And I have personally fallen victim to Notre Dame type winds, and the way in which it blows at the field, it is vicious. And so much of that has to, you know, affect the game and affect the flight of the ball.
Yeah, he said something to the effect of, you know, it's not a home run ballpark up there in South Bend, so the home run numbers can always be a little bit deceiving just based on how many times they play at home and the inability relatively not to hit home runs there. He said, but then they got a favorable wind direction during the regional and saw something like 15 home runs in their regional. He said he wasn't sure he saw 15 home runs the rest of the season. Ball down in the dirt. Miller on the run to second, slides in safely.
The experience of Notre Dame with the senior Miller at first base, seeing the ball in the dirt, getting to second base, takes away the force, runner in scoring position. Notre Dame, the wind at Notre Dame, their ballpark, if the wind comes off the lake, it's blowing from left field in, and it can be 25 to 30 miles an hour. It can really make a difference in the ball game. The next day, it goes out the opposite way. And Link Jarrett was talking earlier about lake effect snow. Oh, we've had 11 inches, but it disappears because they're so good at getting rid of it on campus.
Two
coming here.
Alex, you been 11-inch snow?
No, never in my life. And thankfully, I could go without it forever, probably.
Got him. Chip, you've said it time and time again. You want to make that pitch on your 2-2 count. You don't want it to go 3-2. It doesn't. Another strikeout for Connor Whitaker.
Big breaking ball, good slider, curveball, what you call it, but again, hit with it, as you mentioned right there. Really made it happen. Intentional base on balls coming up here. They move the runner to first and flip it into batting order here to face Cole.
Putz, the first baseman, now standing at first after the intentional walk.
You have to play the percentage, but this guy's been doing some damage all weekend.
I was going to say, at this point, pick your poison between Putz and Cole. You have Putz, who has a home run on the day, a double earlier. Ryan Cole, home run on the day, a double earlier. Pretty hand in hand between the two of them. A really good 4-5 hole punch.
Each of them has a walk.
And Cole hit the one Friday night.
Yes.
And they each have a hit by pitch.
Pick your poisons right.
Carbon copies. Batting average are within 27 points of each other.
Keep the numbers coming.
I don't know how much more we've got. Top of the 9th inning. That was the most obvious one of the bunch.
The difference maker today has been the long ball between Putz and Cole. You have Florida State who's out hitting Notre Dame right now, 10 hits to 9 hits, and Notre Dame's on top with 2 runs.
Weak ground ball, gloved by Lacey. Will not try to force the throw there. He'll bring it home. Now Miller's caught up. Tag applied, that'll do it. The second baseman overzealous, trying to score an extra insurance run. Instead, it stays 2, and Uncle Mo swings back in favor of the Seminoles. No play at first. How about at home? 9-7 Notre Dame. Noles last 3 outs coming up next.
Let's go back to the last play here. Runners on first and second. Ground ball, Logan Lakes doing a great job of going glove side. Extended himself when he went to field this ground ball. You got the runner going to first base, getting down the line pretty good. Third base coach Rich Wallace took a gamble. I've been there. You take the gamble. If he's safe at first, you score the run. But Lacey did not have a play at first. Did a reverse pivot, throw the ball, gets a quick run down. Only thing about it, if you hold a runner up and he beats the play, bases are loaded. Been both sides of that. You try to get another run as you can, a 2-run ball game. Only thing better than a 2-run lead, Sean?
3-run lead.
Yes, sir.
It's like that was.
He's alertly put down a few bunts.
And I believe that bird has dinner.
Wow. Albert has put down a few bunts when they in a shift. Notre Dame is pretty much playing him straight up. Penny at third base is playing in a little bit.
Hit well, but foul.
Get off that knob, compete now. Let's go. Nice shot, 2-3.
Not sure exactly what the exit velo was on that, but I'll just synthesize it and say a ton. He goes down swinging on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and all of a sudden Notre Dame is on the doorstep.
That pitch by Brannigan is, again, what do we call it, Chip? High cheese, right?
High cheese right there.
So hard to catch up to. 99 miles an hour from Brannigan, who was playing third base for the whole rest of the series. Comes onto the mound and is just being lights out.
Here's Colton Vincent, the catcher. A lot has been made about the commonalities between Mike Martin Jr. and Link Jarrett. Both Tallahassee natives, both played together here at Florida State for Mike Martin Sr. They were roommates. They lived over on Edward Street with Kevin McCrae, Brian Harris. It was fun going back and forth with them leading up to this, deciding who was the better cook, who was better at cleaning. Link Jarrett said he was. Mike Martin Jr. said he can say he's Mr. Clean, but he was always Mr. Clean when there was money involved. But Link Jarrett comes into Tallahassee today, and he and his Fighting Irish clean house with the sweep here at Hauser. 9-7 the final. Notre Dame